Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk to you about something that's at least crossed the minds of almost everyone in the Kansas City area at least once or twice: buying acreage. Whether you're dreaming of setting up a homestead or having your own recreational space, there are some unique considerations to keep in mind for buying land around here. From the layout of the land and its purpose, to city and county regulations, to additional expenses, there's more to it than just picking out a piece of property and signing closing papers. I'm Joe Nelson of the Nelson Home Group, Kansas City's highest rated real estate team on Google. Let's dive into the top 5 things to think about when purchasing acreage in Kansas City. Real quick, if you haven't already seen my last video on buying land to build on, make sure to check that out. We cover essential things like perk tests, which apply here, especially if you need to put in a septic system. I'll link that video in the description so you can check it out next. But now let's get into some specifics. The first thing that you need to consider when buying acreage are the zoning and land use rules. Each county and municipality around Kansas City has its own set of regulations for land use, especially if you're looking to have livestock, build a pond, or even just build a home. For example, some counties require a minimum number of acres to raise livestock, while others might restrict the type of animals you can keep. Many counties and municipalities have a minimum requirement of acreage in order to build a house, and it's going to vary depending on where you are. Clay County, for example, requires a 3-acre minimum to build a home, but there are limits to how much of the land can be covered in farm building unless you have at least 5 acres. This can vary even more within city limits depending on the zoning district. So make sure to dig into the local zoning and check if your plans for the land align with the rules and regulations. Otherwise, you could end up with a beautiful piece of property that you can't do what you had in mind. Next, number 2, consider access to utilities. We've covered this in the last land buying video, but it really cannot be overemphasized. This one can make or break your project budget. You need to know where the utility hookups are in relation to the property. Not only will you be paying to bring those utilities from the street to your home or barn, but if the current hookup is some distance away down the road, you'll be paying to have those brought all the way up the street. In more rural areas, you might have this limited access to water, electricity, or especially gas. If natural gas providers haven't already laid the groundwork in your area, you're probably going to be looking at renting and keeping track of a propane tank unless going full electric. And if sewer lines haven't been laid, which when buying acreage they probably haven't, you're likely going to be paying for a septic system, which comes with its own set of considerations. Depending on the quality of your dirt, you could find yourself installing a septic tank and digging for a lagoon or installing laterals. If your perfect home site is far back from the road, which is ideal for more privacy, you'll need to account for the cost of extending those utilities from the main road to your build location. All of these costs can add up so quick, so if you aren't prepared to pay tens of thousands of dollars for your utility access, you will need to find acreage where access is already close to the lot and where you can build closer to the road. All right, now let's talk about access, easements, and driveway planning. You'll want to ensure that you have legal access to your property, especially if it's set back from the road. Does the property sit roadside or is it landlocked between other parcels? In this case, you might need to work with the neighbors and the county or the local government to get proper easement for your driveway, as you'll need to go through someone else's land in order to access the road. Are there any easements on the land you're buying that you'll need to upkeep? Does someone have access to a pond or a creek, for example? Will your property cause someone else to be landlocked and in need of an easement for their own property access? You can work with your real estate agent and their trusted title company to track down current easements for the property before you make an offer, so you can go into the purchase with full knowledge. Point number 4, floodplains and topography. It's crucial to know if any part of your land is in a floodplain, especially if that's where you want to build. This is really important around the Kansas City area. Heavy rainfall can quickly overflow rivers, creeks, lakes, and ponds, leading to flash flooding. So you need to know ahead of time if you're at a higher risk. Areas with low spots might look like great places for a pond or backyard, straightforward, but they can spell disaster during heavy rain. Now, you should check out FEMA's flood map at FEMA.com to see the risk of the land you're looking at. I'll have that linked in the description. Topography will also affect your build site and drainage setup, so getting a land surveyor's input is a wise investment. Kansas City has varied terrain with lots of clay and rock beneath the soil. So while flat land is easier for construction, don't forget a gently sloping site might offer better views and drainage and the opportunity for a walkout basement if you're building a home. Finally, number 5, and most importantly, think about the type of land you want and the upkeep involved. Kansas City has plenty of variety, so you might find timber, open pasture, or a combination thereof. Each type has its own pros and cons. Timber can be beautiful and offer shade and privacy and a great habitat for hunting game such as deer and turkey, but it may require clearing for pasture or building and will limit you being able to grow your own crops. On the other hand, open pasture is great if you're planning on livestock or a homestead setup, but if your goal is to have your own private hunting grounds, you aren't going to get the best bang for your buck. Pun intended. If you want a pond and there isn't one already on the property, you need to be ready for the cost of excavation, filling, and stocking with fish. You need to consider the price per acre that you're willing to pay, knowing what these additions will add on to that. Farmland for agriculture often costs more than timber around Kansas City because of the value agriculture provides, but just because the cost per acre is cheaper doesn't make it the best value if your goal is to harvest crops. You'll have to pay to remove those trees and make the land suitable for farming. The size of the property is also key. Don't take on more acreage than you can realistically maintain unless you plan to hire some help. Sit down with your trusted real estate agent to talk about your local market and plan your budget. They should be able to help you weigh these costs and get you in contact with local contractors who can give you bids on land improvements that you need so that you can make the best financial decisions. So there you have it, the top 5 key considerations when looking to buy acreage in the Kansas City area. Buying land is such an exciting step to living a life by design, and having the right information can make a huge difference in finding the right piece of property. Whether you're dreaming of a hobby farm, a new build, or just some extra room to roam, I'd love to help you navigate this journey. Drop a comment, Acreage, below if you want me to set you up and get alerted to land that fits your needs in the Kansas City and surrounding areas. Or click the link in the description. As always, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more Kansas City lifestyle and real estate videos. We post a new video every week. And if you'd like to put KC's #1 marketing plan to work for you, call or text me today. My number's on the screen and in the description box below. Let my team be your Kansas City real estate experts. See you next time.